So welcome everybody to Wellingtone Community's latest webinar, 18-minute webinar, short, sharp, shock of information. Today we're going to be talking about OKRs and the PMO. For those that don't know me, my name is Emma Pemberton. I'm the Director of Consulting Services at Wellingtone and I manage our community. And with me I have my colleague Paco.
Hello, thank you, Emma. Hello, everyone. My name is Francisco Torrejón, or everyone calls me Paco, I suppose, because it's easier. I am Senior Consultant at Wellingtone.
Today we're going to be talking about OKRs and the PMO. And if this is your first time joining a Wellingtone community event, then just a quick bit of information about who we are. Wellingtone is a project management consultancy firm, and our mission is to enable our clients to make a step change in their project management maturity. We have our offices in the UK, in Windsor, which is where I am based. We have offices in Madrid, which is where Paco is based, and also in Dublin. And we have partners in Costa Rica that help us to spread the PMO love far and wide. At Wellingtone, we do a variety of different things. We are Microsoft Gold partners, so we actually deploy and configure Microsoft project technology, and that's some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about today that can be really handy if you're in that Microsoft cloud. We also do consultancy, so I spend my day setting up, transforming and analysing the maturity of PMOs, and we have our Wellingtone Training Academy as well, which covers all sorts of different topics. We also run conferences and events several times a year. We do lots of articles, insights, we do market research to understand the state of PMOs and project management in the UK and beyond. This webinar will be recorded. You will all receive an email as a follow-up with a link to the YouTube video where you can watch this back. We will take out any questions or answers that you have, so we wouldn't be publishing those. So if we do have an opportunity to have a chat with you, then we can do that at the end, but you don't need to worry about your name being on the wider video. So let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about OKRs, objectives and key results. So we're going to first of all discover what an OKR is, and Paco is going to help us to do that. We're going to understand how they then fit into the organisation and why this is important now. We're also going to give you some hints and tips on how to define OKRs, and then we're going to look into how all of that affects your PMO in realistic terms to give you some insights as to how your PMO can use the concept of OKRs. So to do that, we're going to start off. I'm going to hand you back to Paco, and then I'll be taking over a little bit later. So Paco, over to you.
Thank you, Emma. Let's start with some definitions to provide context for you. You are not familiarized with the concepts. So as Emma has already introduced, OKRs is the acronym for Objectives and Key Results. There are several definitions of OKRs, but very briefly we can say that the OKR is a goal management system driven by objectives based on results and focus on people. That is important. We are going to see these three main elements always. It connects the goals of the teams and employees with the strategy of the organization to drive focus, alignment, engagement, and execution. We can say that has two main components: the objective that describes what you want to achieve, and the key results, that is how you are going to achieve the objective. The objective is the qualitative part, and the key result is the quantitative part. In the figure, we can see the strategic pyramid and how the OKRs could be articulated within the company context. On the top, we have the mission, vision, and value of the organization, and this answers why does your organization exist. Below, we have the OKR framework. This is the strategic level, and it's described what and how you want to achieve your why, your purpose. And in the bottom, we have the projects and initiatives. That's it, the action plan to execute and get these results. So in the next one, please. So here in the next one, we are trying to condensate a bit of the history of the methodology. So despite that sounds like a very trendy topic, it has been around for a while. We can trace its origin up to the early 20s in this past century with the Taylor works. Then in the 50s, Peter Drucker develops the management by objectives and to provide a higher level and this purpose in the organization. But in the 70s, Andy Grove, the CEO of Intel, completes the picture, adding to the equation the key results. So now we have the objectives and the key results. And with these tools, Intel could beat the Motorola threat and develops as market leadership. So in the 19th, John Doerr helps Google to adopt this framework, and this is the most famous case of implementation. The widespread adoption was during the last 2 decades, and during the pandemic and after that, it gets a lot of importance because one of these main benefits that is providing alignment and clarity was very helpful for the focus of the teams. Talking about the benefits in the next slide. Yep. Here we can see short list of the main benefits and why we should it's a good idea to implement the OKR methodology. So the first thing is focus. The OKRs define the 3 to 5 top priorities to be achieved within the next quarter. So it provides clarity and focus, not very long list, only the 3 key points to be achieved. That is important. The second is transparency and alignment. Because OKRs are defined and shared within the whole organization, this helps everyone, every individual to know about the most important things to be achieved. And this is very good because we can align the efforts, or even we can avoid duplicating efforts or working in different directions. The third is the engagement, because the objectives are meaningful and defined according to this company vision. They provide the purpose for the daily work, and the individual knows how its contribution and how it's working to achieve the bigger results and the company mission. Also, it is possible to define individual goals level, so the individual can contribute directly to the strategy that provides and helps about getting engagement. So other good thing is that the principles behind the OKR framework are easy to understand, and this helps the adoption. By definitions, OKR practice, we can say that is an agile practice, so it provides continuous improvement, and it's an iterative process. So we run these OKR cycles, let's say by quarters, and at the end of the quarter, we can sit and we can review together and see what will be what are the lessons learned and what will be the improvement points for the next one. So we can always continue to do the things better. And the last one, but there is an important one also, is that the OKR methodology helps the teams to achieve big results. When the objectives are ambitious, they provide a good stretch for the team to try to achieve big things. And even if these things are not achieved 100%, because these are motivational, at least we are getting good things done. So, and how we can transcribe these benefits, how to write and to define good and effective OKRs. So let's review the main characteristics about the objectives and the key results. And to get the most of the practice, we should define this in a certain way. So first have a look on the objectives. So the objective should be qualitative, should be a short statement describing what you want to accomplish. Should be ambitions and motivational to inspire the teams to action. Additionally, should be inconvenient and uncomfortable. That means that we need to provide a right level of stretch to get these big things done. Should be also the several targets, meaningful and aligned with the company strategy. And we need to define only 3 to 5 or 3 to 4 objectives per cycle, per this quarter. Why? Because then we can focus on that like top priority. But the objectives is complemented with the quantitative part. So we say that the objectives is the qualitative, so the quantitative part is the key result. The key result should be measurable. That's very important because we need to track and we need to measure how we are progressing with our objectives. Should be multidimensional. That means in our key result sets, we need to consider different or several aspects, different perspectives to achieve the objectives. And the success drivers mean that by achieving our key results, we are going to achieve the objective. And again, this list should be limited to provide focus. And here in the bottom, we have some examples of the objectives and key results. And also we have some articles in our website if you are interested on this topic. So saying that, over to you again, Emma. You can talk about PMO.
Great, thank you, Paco. So now we have a standard knowledge base of what an OKR is, the benefits of using OKRs, and how to define them. And as Paco mentions, there are lots of articles on our website that can kind of help you to drill that down a little bit further and maybe translate it to your reality. But one of the questions that we always get is, how does this help or impact my PMO? So we're going to start off with looking at the benefits again. We're going to look at the benefits, but we're going to think about how each of these can impact or support our PMO. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to focus on, or align them, if you like, to our Wellingtone PMO principles. Now, those of you that are being part of the academy, so the Wellingtone PMO Academy, we talk about our Wellingtone principles for PMO all the time. It's kind of the thing that makes a PMO, given that we're all completely different in terms of size and style and nature of PMO. There are some things that kind of bind us together, and that's where that's what the community is built on, and why we're here today, hopefully. So we're going to talk about each of these from the benefit of using OKRs and which of the PMO principles this supports, to kind of help you to close that loop a little bit. So the first one is all about focus, and as Paco said, this is about really making sure that we're doing the right things for the organization moving forward. So really focusing and homing in on that whole concept of the single source of truth. Most PMOs that I work with want to be the trusted single source of truth when it comes to projects in the organization. So this is actually a really important part. What we don't want is people reporting different things to what we are, because it diminishes the value of the PMO if we have that. Linked very closely to that is that second benefit of transparency and alignment, being sure and honest and transparent about how, that we have the right balance of projects, that those projects are being handled in the right way, and that we do know when something isn't going to plan. And really important is that prioritization. Now, not all PMOs actively get involved in prioritizing the whole portfolio, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but it really helps us to have that conversation about becoming that single source of truth. The benefit of engagement is all around people, and it's all about motivation and really making sure that everybody understands what we're working on as an organization. So really focused on commitment. Our PMO principle of being customer focused, putting the PMO customer at the center of everything we do, is very tangibly aligned to that engagement. We always talk about PMOs need to have an engagement strategy with their customer base. We're not going to be the best PMO in the world if people don't know that we exist and our customers don't see themselves as our customers. So we really need to focus in on that one. The next one is all around communication. This is where we are instruments of integration. So we bring together people, knowledge, data, objective results, measurements, wisdom, experience into that project management culture, that project management community that we are handling. So this is, again, directly linked to one of our Wellingtone PMO principles. The next is agility, agility with a little a, not a big A. So really making sure that we're supporting that learning organization. As Paco mentioned, this whole thing is based around continuous improvement, just like those of you working a little bit or wholly in the agile world. It's all about learning from experience and improving faster and better. So supporting that learning organization is one of our core PMO principles, making sure that we are able to learn from our experiences at the project level to make our project management practice better, faster, more efficient. Oh, I skipped a slide. And the last one around visionary thinking. So this is really about achieving bigger things, achieving more, whether it's the entire key result that we're looking after, that whole objective, or whether we managed to tick off 2 out of the 3, for example. Putting that stretch goal in place really helps us to push a little bit out of the comfort zone. As Paco said, it should make us a little bit uncomfortable, and that's going to help to enable the capability, which again is our 5th PMO principle in the Wellingtone world. So we can see straight away that the benefits to the organization, actually we can both help and be impacted by those benefits if we kind of embrace the concept of OKRs. So how do we use it? In practical terms, we PMOs typically are not, looking after all of the measurement that's going on in the organization. So there are kind of 3 levels that we can apply this to, and knowing that every PMO is different, it will be different in your world. So the 3 kind of core, I would say, without knowing your situation, the 3 core areas where we can tend to use this from a PMO perspective. So first of all, are you involved in strategic planning? If your PMO sits within the CEO office, for example, then chances are you are involved in that process. You're not maybe making the decisions on what projects, but you might be facilitating the process and supporting that happening. You could be doing that from a portfolio design perspective. You might get involved in prioritizing the projects that we're planning to do for the next year, 5 years. We might even be looking at portfolio balancing. Are we doing the right projects? Are we focusing our efforts across our objectives and across what we're trying to achieve, rather than just focusing in one area maybe that's a bit sexier, a bit more fun to do? Also, we would be measuring our OKRs if we're involved at this strategic planning. So not only involved at that design, but making sure that we are actually measuring this stuff. Not something that we're very good at as an industry. We know that we're really good at identifying what we're trying to achieve, but we're not so hot on actually seeing that through. The next level that PMOs might get involved in is what we're calling facilitation. So we're not necessarily in the room for that strategic planning, but we are integrating information from different parts of the business. So maybe collating what are the projects from the different functions of the organization and kind of feeding that up in a consistent way so that the strategic planning can happen. So at this point, OKRs are going to help us, or we're going to help OKRs in terms of measurement, really understanding if we've achieved what we thought we would, as well as communicating, really pushing out both up and down in our organization. How are we doing with our OKRs? What is the information that's going to help us to course correct if we maybe need to? And also, how do we celebrate our successes? And then lastly is we can use OKRs at the PMO level, believe it or not. So PMOs don't often measure themselves in terms of the service that they are providing to their customers, remembering that we should be customer focused. So there are things that we would be using or could use OKRs for. First of all, measuring the efficiency of our service catalog, providing statistics on how we as a team are actually performing for our internal customers. Are we spending too long during project inception? Are we hitting just the right amount of training, education, facilitation? So looking at OKRs as a measurement tool for the PMO itself, which is going to help with not just value generation, but engagement and communication. If the organization can see that the PMO is being transparent, it is saying, you know, we're great at this stuff, we haven't got to this stuff yet. So 3 key areas that we could apply OKRs from a PMO perspective in practical terms. Not everybody reports into the CEO. We're not all going to be in that room, but we are sure as heck facilitating some of that through our projects and programs, and we definitely can do something around the PMO itself and really trying to get that value generation through those metrics that come from OKRs. Now, one of the other questions that we get is, oh, can we see it? You can see it. We're not going to do that today. We're not here to do a demonstration. We're really here to kind of talk to you about how your PMO, you know, understanding OKRs and then how it can affect and impact your PMO. But what we are making available is you can select a time to come along and have a chat with myself and Paco, and we can show you the system that we use. So we're a Microsoft house, so we're using Viva Goals. We can show you how it integrates nicely with Project for the Web if you're already on that journey, and give you a real complete picture from what is that objective right down to the tasks required to generate those results. So we can show you an example. We do have something set up already, but rather than kind of do one big holistic demo, we'd rather talk to you to be able to show you and answer your questions directly. So there's a link there. That link will come out in the follow-up email that you'll receive with a link to this video as well, so that you can book some time with us if you do want to find out more, not just how it affects the PMO, but practically, what does this really look like? So hopefully that will help you, along with some of the articles that we have on our website, wellingtone.co.uk, around this topic. As we mentioned earlier, and as Paco mentioned earlier, we do have lots of articles on there. I can now see the hand is up again, so let me go and find it. So Priyali, let me see if I can unmute you. Can you unmute yourself now, Priyali?
Yeah, I've done that, yeah. So hi there. Yeah, I just wanted to quickly understand whether there'll be any recordings for this actually shared.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned at the beginning, all of our webinars are recorded. We won't be adding the questions and answers necessarily, so you wouldn't be on that recording. And when we send the follow-up email, we will also send a link to the video, so you can watch it back on demand as and when you need to.
Lovely, thank you.
No worries. Okay, so we're a little bit over time, just over the half an hour, but I hope that you found this 18-minute content session interesting. We've had about 10 minutes of questions, which is absolutely what we want. If you do have any further questions, then do get in touch with myself or Paco. As I mentioned, you can connect with us through either the Wellingtone LinkedIn community or directly with us, and we will be sending you a link so you can have a look at how Viva Goals works if that's something of interest for you. And as always, keep the conversation going either internally with your team, but also with Wellingtone, and we hope to see you at the next event very soon. Thank you everybody for joining. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you.